Dear Lord, we just thank you so much for another opportunity to do this podcast and hopefully give information to those that are out there just seeking information on building and rates and just questions that they might have, and also to help our customers as well through this process. We pray that we honor you with everything we do, everything we say, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So today is another episode on our Building Basics series, and today we're going to talk about understanding price per square foot. That seems to be a lot of confusion and questions around that, but before we get into that, I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors that we've had, and we actually have a new sponsor that sponsored the previous episode as well. So I want to give a shout out to Viz 3D Space. Luke did one of the episodes with us a couple of series ago and talked about drawing plans, Core Building Products, AgCore Steel, Broadside Marketing and Branding, and Taylor with Broadside is actually our producer of our podcast. And then Victorian Finance, Zach Daniels was with us in the previous episode, giving us all kind of information on financing, some options to help with rates, in the current market, which I know will perk a lot of interest. We hope that it was very informative. And so today we're going to talk about price per square foot, understanding price per square foot. As you guys know, we are a builder. Marty is a broker, I'm a realtor, but he's a licensed home builder, and we're actually on Smith Lake. So we know that hopefully there's lots of people listening that are not necessarily even in Alabama. But this is a question that we get a lot. People call, where are you per square foot? I see it on Facebook. How much is it costing per square foot? And our answer is always, that is a very loaded question.
Yeah.
So we want to give a little more information on, what do you mean that's a loaded question, and why can't you give me a per square foot number? And so we hope to give a little information on that today to understand that just a little bit better. Yeah. So I'll turn it over to Marty for a minute.
Well, just cost per square foot, again, we use that term. It's a loaded question. We'll get into a little bit about why. I guess it's just really important to know what is in that. So we're going to give a whole lot of reasons why not to use cost per square foot, but yet all of our customers, or every customer in the market out there, has to have some number to base their decision on. So I'll just jump right in. Just one thing to remember on costs per square foot: there are things that are in a home that are fixed, and I'm just going to use simple numbers. But for example, if I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that is 1,000 square feet, or a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that is 2,000 square feet, and again, I'm just giving you numbers. So if I have a kitchen, a $30,000 kitchen, and I have two $15,000 bathrooms, and I have a heating and air conditioning system that's in the 10,000 neighborhood range. If I've got to have that same kitchen, same 2 bathrooms, and same heating and air conditioning system in a 1,000 square foot house and a 2,000 square foot house. Well, if I do the math on that, the cost per square foot is going to be half as much on a 1,000, or twice as much on a 1,000 is on a 2,000. So it really throws those numbers out of skew. Now, lumber is the same way. The lumber is not as proportionate because it's going to take more lumber, but a kitchen is a kitchen typically, a bath is a bath typically, heating and air is heating and air. There's other hot water heater, everybody's got to have one, where they're dividing that cost. So you need to remember that you're dividing it over a fixed number over variable square footage, so it's really going to throw your number off. So you need to be real careful, and we'll get into the end, but just to make sure that if you're using a cost per square foot, to make sure that you're looking at, if you're thinking about 2,000 square feet, use 2,000 square foot houses. We were doing an internet search earlier just to see, and we saw similar houses from $500 a square foot to $225 a square foot, but we had to dig into what is in that number. So I'll let you jump into what is in the cost per square foot number. I'll jump in and out there with you, but what's in our cost per square foot number, I guess, maybe.
Well, and again, that can depend. When we looked on our local MLS, well, okay, what did that include if it was new construction? That was a lot. The boat dock was included. No, this one didn't have a boat dock included. Again, it depends on your market. For us, if our customer has their lot already, then we find out what they want us to do. If they have their lot, do they already have a boat dock? Do they want us to put a boat dock in the proposal that we're getting together for them? So when we build, just for example, here on Smith Lake, we are pricing your home, but it's also what it's going to take to build on that lot that you do have. Things are very different. The topography is different on different lots, and how much is it going to cost to build on that specific lot? Driveways, excavation path to the boat dock, and I know you're going to get more into that. Of course, you have the home, and we include some landscaping, septic tank, again, fire pits. There's different things that we put into that number. For us, we price out finishing your home so that you show up with your suitcase when we are finished and you can spend the weekend. Is that what that builder is doing for you in that proposal? So your specifications are very important in what you're expecting in the home. And you had said when you're comparing, you've got to compare, if you're wanting to build a 2,500 square foot home, you need to be looking at comparable homes around that square footage and around the same finishes that you want. Because we also know that you've got to have an idea, can I even go down that path? Am I in the realm of being able to afford it? So I've got to have an idea before I go into, which we're going to get more into, blueprints and things like that. So for us, when a customer calls us and I've got a house plan or I'm looking for something around 2,500 square feet, okay, well, we have a few of those under construction right now, or a couple that just finished. Mm-hmm. We can actually walk you through them. You can look at the finishes. We can tell you what that house cost us to build it a month ago, or what it's costing us right now, to give you an idea of where you would be.
Yep, definitely the cost per square foot. Just be sure. I have homeowners that we're not building their house right now that came to us and said, you guys are $50 a square foot higher than this other builder, and so we're going to go with this other builder. And a lot of tears and agony and pain later, we come to realize that that was just the cost of materials, labor, and markup. It didn't include the septic tank. It didn't include the driveway. It didn't include the excavation. They were just giving them this is my price per square foot to build. The builder was not being malicious, or mm-hmm. he just answered the question the way he understood the question. So I would just be super cautious about, I need like an email that says, okay, your cost per square foot includes the following. Just because I know there's some customers that we have live in it and they're having to go back and come up with more money because they don't want a house that doesn't have a septic tank or doesn't have a driveway or doesn't have a yard or doesn't have steps to the water. So just be careful that you understand what is in your cost per square foot number. I don't know if anything to add to that.
No, I think you're exactly right. Is knowing what is in that number, for sure. Mm-hmm. But how do they get How do they get to that number? And like you said, it's not often a malicious thing. It's here's what it cost me to build your house because that's all you asked me to build. Mm-hmm. But in that, what does that mean? Yeah,
and you've seen it in our other podcast. Just communication, because it throws you off. Did I cut you off, or are you going to say something else?
No, I think you're going to talk about an internet search. We've had that issue with some phone calls that we've had.
Yeah, we had a customer. I'll just give you a specific scenario. They weren't our customer. They were just a person calling us because of a bad situation that they had gone through, where they went out on the internet and they searched average cost to build on a home in Alabama. And they based their entire decision on moving from across the country based on an internet search. Well, we did the same search this morning. And that article, we found the article, it popped up like $145 a square foot. That article was from 2000.
I think it was 2022.
22.
I think it was 22.
I would just, if you're, I just don't,
21.
that's not how you're going to find out how to cost to build a house. You need to, we'll get into in a minute, like what you need to do to really get a good idea, because we understand you can't make plans until you have a general idea. But this person based their entire plan. They purchased land, made plans to move. They went out and spent $10,000 to $15,000 with an architect having a home designed based on an internet search, and then they called their builder and they realized they were at a third of the price per square foot, or at least half. And so they thought, well, maybe the builder was kind of a bad guy or misleading them. So they called us, and the language that came out of that phone call was just terrible, because they were just so frustrated that they'd made all these plans to move across the country, to move to Alabama, to move to the lake, and it was all based on bad numbers. We also dug a little bit more into that article, and we did find, I guess, if you're going to look on the internet to try to find a price on something, make sure that article has been written within a year after COVID, or at least in the last 12 months, because anything prior to that, they're completely inaccurate, because you've heard the stories about inflation that we're all living in right now, and all the costs went up. So any article written 2 years ago is out of date. So I would just say that. But we dug into that article a little further, and I can't remember, Lisa, the variable they gave in that article for a roof.
Oh, it was for a roof specific. It was 25 or 2,900 to 35,000. That's what it said for your average roof cost. Well, 25 or 2,900 to 35,000 for a roof. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And you're going to land somewhere in the middle for sure, but that's a big difference. So read deeper into the information that they're giving on the internet.
If you're going to search on the internet, just one, it needs to be a recent article. Two, dig deep into that article, read the fine print, because the more we read, the more it started inching up towards, and we'll tell you the number when people call in, $250 to $275 a square foot is what we quote, but we also tell people that what's in that quote is that house is ready to move in, a septic tank, excavation, and we base that off on our previous 4 to 5 builds. We'll just take an average cost per square foot, and if we know about what you're looking for, we can even dial it in further. But just be sure that what's in that article, you read the fine print, and you're going to move towards a real number. We were talking about what all do you need to have to get to a realistic price per square foot number. Blueprints is just the first real blueprints. Not I went to some home plan website and I downloaded this and then I email it to a builder. If you could use their average cost per square, but I'd be leery if he's like, oh, I could build that house for $425,000 based on something without any dimensions on it. So a real set of blueprints with dimensions, with the right foundation, definitely want that.
Well, I want to jump in on that. If you have talked to someone, spent some time with the builder, again, I think we had mentioned this, find a builder that has time to talk to you prior to you going to contract with them. If they don't have time to talk to you then, I think you said this, they're not going to have time to talk to you during a build after they start getting your money.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that I would want to know, can I even afford it? Is it even possible? Find somebody that's going to spend some time to be a resource for you, to help you understand, is this even in the realm of possibilities for my family to do this? So once you've got that range, then, as Marty was saying, move into a true set of blueprints. Those blueprints are owned by you no matter who you build with. But we cannot give you here is the price, I'm going to lock it down and go to contract with a fixed number until we have a true set of blueprints that we send to our suppliers. We get everything quoted, we get the lumber takeoffs, all the things that we get from our suppliers. That's how we come with an accurate price, and that's any home builder. And it's not wasted money if you love the plan and that's the plan you're going to build. It's your plan no matter what builder you go with. So spend the money when you are ready and to that point to get you an accurate, true set of blueprints that are yours no matter where you go or who you build with.
Yeah, I was going to say there's nothing wrong with buying stuff over the internet. We're not anti-internet people. We've just seen customers get into messes buying stuff over the internet because they didn't do the human interaction thing. It's so much easier just to search it. Oh, we love this one. Oh, we're going to spend $1,200 and then we're going to send it. But a couple just things about why not to do that. I would try to use a local home designer, potentially architect, but they might not work with your topography. The internet plans may have the wrong foundation drawn on them. So accurate blueprints, not just blueprints, but accurate blueprints that work with you, your home site, your topography, and what the way you want to live. So blueprints, that kind of leads us into a site plan. I don't know if you want to jump in there on like what do we mean site plan? What does that mean?
Yeah, a site plan is so important for us in the location where we build. If you are in a subdivision, and you've referenced this before, if you're in a subdivision where your house is on a slab and it's pretty flat, the site plan is nowhere near as important. But when you are building in an area where the topography is very different based on what lot you have chosen. So a site plan for us is we get our surveyor out there. We get you go out there with them. We get our excavator. We find out where's the septic, where's the best place to place your septic, and your field lines. And then from that, where do you then have, you place your house? You have setbacks where you cannot build on, these lines. You have to go 20 feet, on each side, or 10 feet or 30 feet, whatever it is in your municipality for your setbacks. So, and then finding out your boat dock. Where's your boat dock going to be placed, and how am I even going to get down to it? If you're pushing your house down closer to the water and you've got a pretty steep lot, then if we go down closer to the water, a lot of times it's created a very expensive driveway that's going to potentially have some retaining walls and things like that we have to address. So a site plan where we build, and I know we're not the only area that has this situation, is very important and can really impact your budget. So it's really important to meet all those people out there to determine where the house is going to sit and all the other important things that have to do with the house.
Yeah, so just site plans and cost per square foot. I'll just kind of reiterate some high points. Like if you have a lot that's 600 foot deep, or a lot that's 300 foot deep, or a lot that's 100 foot deep, the driveway cost is going to vary. How do I get from the road to the home, from the home to the water?
Absolutely.
Where am I going to have a fire pit? Where's that fire pit going to be located? How am I going to get from the house to the fire pit? How am I going to get from the fire pit down to the boat dock? So you're wanting an accurate price per square foot. We talked about what do you want me to include in that price per square foot, but also with I need blueprints, but also I need a site plan, because that could move the needle literally $30 to $40 a square foot just with the cost to develop your site. So if a builder doesn't, again, and have the time to spend with you, but they give you a number of price per square foot without investing that time, it's 100% guaranteed that it's not going to be a right price per square foot when you get to the end. So if they're saying, hey, it's $225 a square foot, and that's an average, well, you just got to be really careful.
If you call them and they throw out that number based on, if they just see, get a glimpse of, here's my plan, and I'm going to be around this, but they never even step foot on your lot, then I can assure you the price is going to be different here where we build, because there's a whole lot that goes into that lot to get you access to your boat dock and to the water.
Yep. And
you can't do that just over the phone.
Well, and it's just super important, because you're going to go get a construction loan in most cases, or you're going to think, I got to put this much cash into the deal. And if you don't go into that really understanding what all it takes to build, you're just going to get yourself in trouble. So that's blueprints, number one. Site plan, number two. Specifications would be number three. I'll let you talk about specifications and what does that even mean?
So specifications are what I call it, the pretties. What are your pretties for your home? What are you thinking the finished product, the fun part of building to me? What are you wanting? Are you wanting LVP? Are you wanting true sand and stain hardwood? Do you want granite? Do you want quartz? No, I'm just going to do butcher block. There's some things within your home. Do I want two laundry rooms? Do I want 2 living rooms? Do I want 2 kitchens? Do I just want 1 kitchen? Do I want Trex decking? Do I want wood decking? Like, those are finishes. Do I want a metal roof? Do I want shingles? Do I want copper gutters and downspouts? Nope, I just want a standard. Do I want black windows on the in and the out versus just black on the outside? Or I'm going to do a clay color, that's a standard with white in and clay out. I know I'm throwing out a lot there, but those are specifications. And so we do an interview with our prospect, we call them prospects or prospective customers that come to us. We do an interview process. What are you wanting within your home so that we know how to accurately estimate your home? And we also will walk them into some of our homes that are under construction around the lake, and we say, okay, here's how much this is, and you see the finishes here. We walk them in some finished product. This is what, when we quoted this house, you see the finishes. Hardy on the outside. There's some stone accents. There's fireplace inside. They had 2 fireplaces, and here's the finish of those fireplaces. So, again, your specifications, yes, there's the builder side of it. What's the size of the HVAC and, the insulation and things like that. But really the specifications, when I'm talking to a customer, I need to know what are your expectations for your home as far as the finished product.
Just you use the windows, and windows, massively variable number, because you use the term white on the inside, black on the outside, or versus black on black. Well, there are certain windows that have black on black finishes that they deteriorate quickly, the seals bust. So they're exactly, in a lot of cases, double. So if it's black on the outside, white on the inside, or black on black, that window package could be the difference between $15,000 to $30,000. Well, if you divide that over 2,500 square feet, you moved your cost per square foot dramatically. So that just, when you hit me, there's a lot of numbers like that in a home, like LVP at $6 a square foot, where there's some sand and finishes that are $30 a square foot. And if you don't clear that up with your builder and he quotes LVP flooring and you're thinking in your mind that it's sand and finish, knotty pine or antique heart pine or something, then you're going to be mad, and his cost per square foot is just going to be way out in left field. So
I want to, Marty and I we built our home. We've been in it 16 months here on the lake full time, and we were building in the middle of the massive inflation. So we talked about that in our first podcast. We felt the pain. But I had to change several things that I wanted within our home. I wanted, I love Pinterest, as most, I think, females do. And I had found these doors, and I sent it to our supplier, and they were knotty alder, beautiful 8-foot doors. And then he gave me the quote. And I said, never mind.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out something else. And I did, and I love my doors. But those finishes can really impact your overall budget tremendously.
And definitely your cost per square foot.
And we've built enough. We've been building for a long time here on the lake, 4 years, but all around Birmingham for 20 plus years. We've built enough to where when you tell us some things or show us some things that are on your Pinterest board, we can say, okay, that's going to really blow the budget you're giving us. However, here's some alternatives that we've done in the past that look fantastic, but it's half the cost. So I like to be able to, I like that challenge to say, show me your inspiration and let me help you figure out the best way, the most cost-effective way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So specifications, I just can't emphasize enough. Like, if you're going to have a conversation with a builder and you're talking cost per square foot, and you're not having the blueprint, you're not having the site plan, and you're not having a specification 100% guaranteed chance you are going to end up in a bad situation, and somebody's going to be upset with somebody. Yeah. So just educating yourself, or before you decide, you if the builder doesn't ask you, you go to them with good blueprints. You go to them with hey, what about a site plan? Hey, can you come visit my home site?
Out there?
Hey, what specifications does that come with? Like, what kind of floors are you using? What kind of countertops are you using? Are those custom cabinets or those out of the box cabinets that you bought from, a big box retailer? So you need to be asking the questions. Something else that there's soft cost, there's hard cost, there's labor cost, there's builder profit, and there's variable cost that you need to be aware of. Like soft cost, water tap, sewer tap, just engineering costs, home plan design costs. So there's some costs that have nothing to do with your build that vary greatly from municipality to municipality. So you just need to know, what are my soft costs that do have anything to do with building. Hard cost, I'll call it sticks and bricks, is just labor and materials. What are my labor and material costs? Most people today, because of what happened during COVID, they just want to know what the price is. Before that, there was a lot of cost plus, and during COVID, everybody had to do cost plus builds, which now in the market, everybody's scared of a cost plus because of what happened during COVID and inflation. So just need to know, and then my variable cost, which we talked about during the site plan, is excavation, tree removal, a driveway, path to water. Like, what are the things that are not sticks and bricks or are not labor, materials, and builder profit that you have to do in this build that may affect my cost per square foot? So, do you have something yet?
Well, I did. I was just in talking about your builder, and I know that we talked about this in the first episode. It's also knowing a little bit about your builder and the services they provide for the quote that they are giving you. I think that's important too. We are a full-time builder, fully staffed, with an accounting department, project manager, a superintendent, a decorator. We have an office that you can walk into anytime you want. We have an app where we communicate. We manage that app. We're fully insured. You're a licensed home builder. So there are services that we provide and other builders provide that maybe some don't. So there are smaller builders that physically go out and build your house, and it is them, their tool belt, and their pickup truck. And they don't have as much overhead as a builder with a design center and a showroom and a decorator and a project manager and a superintendent. So I think there's different types of builders, not one wrong or right. It's just different builders. And it's interviewing your builder, what services they provide, what type of builder are they, and what's a fit for you. It's just that simple. What's a fit for you? What am I getting? What's important to you? Are you out of state, building on a lake? You can't go by there and manage that build. So I think it's finding someone then that can manage your build with their staff and also communicate with you when you live 6 hours away. So I think it's knowing your builder, and we've talked about that a lot, and getting to know your builder, getting to know what services they provide, and making sure it's a good fit for you in your current situation, I think is very important. But I think sometimes those services impact the cost per square foot just simply because the overhead is higher if you're fully insured and fully staffed and you are a full-time builder with an office.
Yep, I would agree. I mean, we're definitely not the least expensive builder. We can't afford to be. If I'm competing with a guy who doesn't have insurance at all, doesn't have an office, doesn't have a staff, he's just out a guy, and they build some beautiful homes. That's not a knock. I mean, it's just that if you want a builder, one, you can drive to their office if you have a question or a problem, and you can find them. That you have a warranty process. We have funds set aside because just things happen on the house, and we're going to be with you for the next year, making sure we have funds set aside to take care of problems that arise. That we do a 11-month walk where we caulk everything back in your home right before your home goes out of warranty. We come and visit with you. We just button that home up one more time. Like, if there's a builder who's not doing those things, his cost per square foot is definitely going to be less.
Absolutely.
So I just think, is the less you have to worry about things, the more the cost per square foot is going to be. Where if you're almost a co-manager of your build, and you have time to do that, and you have time to go visit your site all the time, and you have time to find the information because it's not being fed to you, that builder who is giving you the information, providing you the service, who's got an office, who's got a decorator, who's got a sales representative that you can reach out to, his cost per square foot is definitely going to be, I don't know, 5% higher, 3% higher than a guy that doesn't offer those services. So it's just how much pain do you want to deal with? If you're looking, especially if you're out of state, it's super important. Like, it's worth it, because if they're not communicating, mistakes are going to happen. You don't see them. Your cost per square foot is going to go up there equal with a guy that has that service anyway, because mistakes are going to happen. So, anything else to add there? So I'd be sitting on the other side of the room. I hear you, but there was a lot of detail and a lot of industry lingo we threw around there. So if I just kind of put a bow on, what are 3 or 4 things that we need to do? If I'm just trying to make a decision, a loose decision, I want to go out and spend $10,000 on a set of plans. I don't even know if I can build it. So what? I can jump in on this if you want to just kind of, I've just jotted down some stuff. So one, I would just interview builders who have time to talk to you. If they don't have time for you now, they're really not going to have time for you once you've paid your deposit and you're moving forward. So get a builder and somebody that will sit down with you and have you an intelligent conversation about the things we talked about. What is in your number? So I would that I'll emphasize it again. Has time for me now. I can't tell you the horror stories. Like, I should have known better. He didn't really have time to talk to me. He's just like ready to get started. Throw me your blueprints and we'll go. And we figured it out the hard way all the way through my build, and we ended up right where the quote unquote expensive guy. We ended up not only at his price per square foot number, we ended up past it because of the mistakes we had to correct. I would say, so you've interviewed your builder. I would want him to give me the price per square foot average based on his last recent builds on a similar home. And then give me the specifications of those homes. Let me know what was included in that price per square foot. And then I would say to emphasize similar in size. And I would say walk through something they have under construction or they have built, or that, if they have something that's being framed, or it's not going to be as meaningful as something that somebody's about to move in. Most of our homeowners, we could even call them and arrange for you to walk through their house. A lot of ours they're not even here all the time, but most of them would allow it anyway. And then I would say that site plan, which is something we hit on today, that's super important. If they're just trying to get a good idea of what's my price per square foot, anything you want to add on something they need to be
No, I think everything you said is important in trying to get to that number and how you can arrive at that number. You can get an idea based on interviewing the builder, finding out the specifications in a comparable home to what you're wanting to build. Walk through it, see it, make sure you know and understand what you're getting for that number. And then I go back to what we talked about when we first started our podcast. For us, we like to hear, what is your budget? And then we're going to try to help you figure that out. The square footage that you build is the biggest factor in how much your house costs.
Yes.
So if you're, wanting to be all in at $750, well, you've got to find your lot, and then based on your lot cost, tells you how much is left for you to put in that house. And then that we can factor in, you're going to be able to build then around $1,500 to $2,000 or $2,000 to $2,500. But while you're designing that plan, if we have hit your numbers by building a 2,000 square foot house, we've got you where you need to be price per square foot. But then you add 300 feet, that 300 feet just upped your number.
Yep.
So it's being really cautious in the all-in budget, working with someone to help you from start to finish so that you know what your budget is for your home and that your square feet in that home is going to get you to the all-in goal.
Yep.
Because we've had this many times of, well, the estimate comes back more. Well, because the house during the design process is now 1,000 square foot bigger than it when we originally talked. And yes, we can change some of the specs. We could do it, sealed concrete in the basement. We might put butcher block in the countertops. Like we can do some things that are going to save you a little, 1,000 or two. The only way to shave a big portion of that is to watch the square footage that you are building.
Right.
I did make that note. I don't know if you have anything else to say about that.
No, just that you use that all-in budget, and we use that a lot around here because we've just so many times. We primarily build lake homes, but there's just a lot in all-in budget. It's not just the house; it's the driveway. It's the in this situation, it's the boat dock, which in some cases could be $150,000. It is a boat lift. It's a jet ski lift. It's a jet ski. It's a boat. I mean, all the things that is required in living on the lake is a large conversation that if you have a $700,000 budget, but what portion of that budget really goes to the house, or is that $700,000? I mean, I got to get here. I got to get it furnished. I got to get moved in it. So just, I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's just important to know that there's a lot to it.
And it's really, we talk a lot about building on the lake because that's where we build. I know there's some people listening that they don't. And so that wouldn't be relative to your build if you're building in a traditional neighborhood in a city. But for us, that all-in budget, there's a whole lot that goes into that, more than just I pick this lot and I build this house plan. There's a whole lot more when you're building on the beach, on the bay, on the lake, no matter what lake. There's a lot that goes into that. If you're building a chalet in Gatlinburg and you're up on the side of a mountain, like it just depends on where you build and the topography of the land that you're building on.
Yeah, and the name of our company is Residential Resource for a reason. We really have always wanted to be a resource to the industry. Taylor will share our phone number on the screen, 205-784-4016. Like whether we're your builder or not, if you're just uncomfortable with something that's going on, or you just need some advice or help, or we really want to be that for people. So feel free to give us a ring, and they'll transfer the call, if not to one of us, to somebody in our office that can help you get some peace with the decision you're trying to make.
Absolutely. We do mean that. We enjoy it. We've been doing it for a long time, but we really do love to help. It doesn't matter if you're here in Alabama or if you're in Texas and you've got a question, give us a call. We'd love to help. We'd love to, give you as much information as we possibly can to help you through the process, because we know it can be overwhelming, especially when you don't do it every day.
Yeah.
It can be, and it's a big purchase. It's the biggest purchase for most people that they do in their family is their home. So it's a big decision and a lot that goes into it, and we'd love to help in any way. And before we wrap anything up, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors again. Do you have anything else?
No, I just give us a ring if you have any questions. Thanks everybody, as always, for listening. Thank you to the people who surprised us that do listen and called and encouraged us to do it. We hope that we helped clarify the cost per square foot. We just hear that number so much, and it's so hard to answer, and your builder's not being elusive when he doesn't answer it quickly, but it's we hope today helped clear that up a little bit. We had a lot of questions about that.
We do, and we would love to hear from you. We would love for you to email us at info@buildinglakelife.com if there are things that you have questions about the building process that you would like for us to cover in an episode.
Absolutely.
No matter, again, where you are, we would love to hear from you. That way we can see what you're wanting, and then we can do some research if it's something that we're not even familiar with. But we would love to take your questions and have a podcast to try to answer those questions, and hopefully we can do that in some of our future episodes. So info@buildinglakelife.com. If you have any questions or topics that you want us to cover, we would love to hear from you. And again, we want to thank our sponsor for today is Vic Finance, and Zach Daniel was here early in our previous episode. His number is 256-506-8355. He has some great financing opportunities, especially in this market. They're very creative ways to save you some money. So that's a good thing. And we've also want to thank Viz 3D Space, Core Building Products, AgCore Steel, and Broadside Marketing and Branding for their sponsorship and support as we have jumped into this endeavor.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, everybody, and we'll talk to you again on the next episode.
thank you.